Hey everyone, Samantha McLean back at the Elite Agent Couch, day 2 of AREC 2018. I'm with one of Australia's best agents. He's just come off the stage, James Tostevin. Welcome to the couch. How are you going?
Great, yeah, really good, thank you.
So you talked today about maintaining energy levels long after the conference is over, which is something I know you're passionate about and have been for some time. So talk to us a little bit about how you maintain the motivation and the high from coming out of a conference like this.
Yeah, I think the key thing, which I was talking about on stage briefly, is just reflecting back on what you've actually learnt, but what you're going to put into place in the short term. And that's the very first sales training I ever went to before AREC was the conference John McGrath did, and that's really what I've tried to always carry forward. And I guess, I genuinely love what I do, so it's easy to have high energy levels. So that's always made it very, very easy to keep coming back here and keep putting key things into place that'll still make a difference to my business.
Talk to me about what's changed, because obviously if you were at AREC 21, you've had a very long real estate career and a very successful real estate career. So how have your systems and processes changed over the years? Like, what did you do initially and what are you doing now?
I think the biggest change was just around team structures, because I think that's something we hadn't really thought a lot about or been taught. It was sort of such a singular business at that point in time. Like, you worked solo on everything. I mean, everything from doing copy to from open for inspections to callbacks to so much contact with vendors and buyers, and it was just all consuming. It was great, but all consuming. When you listen to more and more people as the ARECs evolved, you certainly got a great insight as to splitting the roles and having team members and starting with one and then breaking to a second, third, etc. And just the impact that's had, just not only my business, but the time that I've actually had for my friends, family, number one, and obviously business beyond that. So they're probably, I think a few of the key things.
There has been a real theme of teams. How big is your team now and how is it structured?
Yeah, it's pretty big. So I've got EA and then 2 girls in marketing, admin marketing. And then I've got 5 in sales, and that's really been to cope with the volume of listings that I've handled over a long period of time. So it's a big team, but then I guess what we try to do is make sure there are, more, in terms of numbers that open for inspections and auctions, more than the industry would be typically known to have. 1 was the norm for years, then 2. We had a lot of opens with 3. And again with auctions, making sure we have good numbers at our auctions. But we also rotate things where the team get a Saturday off, and as in the salespeople. And that's just invaluable because it gives them a sense of the real world and not always being real estate, real estate, real estate. So there's a combination of things that have obviously made a big difference, Sam.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I remember that from when you were a Transform coach a couple of years ago. You actually talked about the need to have breaks and the need to be good to your team and let them have a bit of time to rest, reflect.
I did talk about a short burst where I'm a burst player and I go for 2.5 months and have a break, 2.5 months and another break, and it works really well for me. But I look at my younger members of the team, allowing them to watch their children play sport, something as simple as that. But it's important because they don't typically get to do that.
Are there any speakers that have stood out?
Chris Elder's phenomenal. Peter yesterday was great. John McGrath obviously gave Peter a huge rap. And I think he spoke for nearly an hour. I think everyone was riveted by what he had to say. And
amazing.
I mean, there were so many notes I took from that presentation. Bob Wolf has always been my favourite speaker at AREC. I just think I always feel his energy levels. I think I'm energetic, Sam, but I feel like I'm in a coma compared to Bob Wolf. He's incredible. So he's probably my favourite of all time. But there's been some phenomenal speakers, and John McGrath, as you know, has revolutionised real estate. He's changed the industry enormously for some of the agents throughout Australasia. And I don't know if he's always given the credit for that.
I think it's fantastic actually to see him on stage interview Dr. Fred, and that was fantastic yesterday.
Yeah, well, Dr. Fred's a legend, and he's someone I should have mentioned earlier because he's been someone that's contributed enormously to so many people. Again, the coaching he's done and the difference he's made to their lives. Again, not just in a real estate sense, just the difference he's made to I guess quality of relationships with families through holidays and those sort of things, and making us all realise what's actually really important in the world.
James Tostevin, thank you so much.
Thanks, Sam.